Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
We know exactly what you're not thinking about right now. Wiper blades. But now that you are, take a moment to think about how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America. Why? Because Rain-X thinks about wiper blades all the time. We obsess, so you don't have to. Simply install our blades and then think about literally anything else. So choose Rain-X, America's #1 wiper blades, and then go back to not thinking about wiper blades. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
For the fitness fanatic on your Christmas list, save big this holiday season. At Fitness Gallery, we have deals everywhere, up to 50% off. Visit one of Fitness Gallery's 7 convenient locations from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins. We have you covered.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Zach here. The Fed just dropped rates again, and that's really great news for American homeowners. If you're feeling overwhelmed, thinking about the upcoming holidays, there is no better time than now to get your finances in order. With rates dropping, now is the time to pay off that debt. American Financing is helping homeowners access the equity in their home for instant savings. They're saving people just like you an average of $800 a month, and many are seeing rates in the low fives. That's a game changer compared to those sky-high credit cards. And if you start today, you may be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. It costs absolutely nothing to find out how much you can save. The holidays are going to be here before you know it, so don't wait. Call their salary-based mortgage consultants today. American Financing can be reached at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000 or online at americanfinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. APR for rates in the 5s start at 6.196 for well-qualified buyers. Call 303-695-7000 for details about credit costs and terms.
Do you own a small business? You need to hear this. A seismic shift is coming. It's time to get super sure. Not kind of sure, not pretty sure, but super sure. Coming soon.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 1043. The Fan. Welcome to Denver Sports Tonight, taking a look at the biggest stories in Denver sports. From your online home for the best opinions and information on the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rockies, and more, DenverSports.com.
Yes, it is Denver Sports Tonight right here on the ever-powerful Denver Sports 1043. The Fan, Anilo Piro, Dante Gomez riding with you here tonight for the next hour or so. Hope everyone is doing well out there in the Mile High City. Good little conversation with Zach and Phil there at the end of the drive about, of these 3 teams, unfortunately, the Rockies are not in this mix. Maybe one day if Paul DePodesta can get this team back on track. But for the Nuggets, the Avalanche, and the Broncos, you've got to feel great about their long-term outlook this season, right? You're talking about legitimate championship expectations for the Avalanche and the Nuggets, but the possibility of a championship as well for the Denver Broncos. So we can kind of go back and forth with that tonight. But hope everyone is doing well out there. What's up, Dante? How you doing tonight, brother?
Good, dude. How you doing? It's been a while since we've done this.
Last week.
Yeah, it's a while. I just missed you so much.
Oh.
Was it actually last week?
Yes, last Thursday, and you got mad at me because I said I was riding solo, and then you gave me the look behiund the glass.
You know what? I just blocked it out. That's what happened.
Yeah,
I do remember
So
this
it was
now.
a bad show then, is what you're telling me.
No, I'm not.
No
comment. No comment.
After the show, you dapped me up, said good stuff, good conversation. But no, away we go. So a lot to break down tonight. You want to play a game with me tonight, Dante?
I love games.
So the Nuggets are going to tip off here in about 8 minutes. What do you think Jokic's stat line will be by the time we sign off on the show?
Oh, that's fun. So they're going to tip off in 8. So let's say like quarter and a half in. Feels about right?
Yeah, probably about right.
I'm going to go with 12, 8, and 7.
Wow. I mean, I say wow because that sounds like a lot, but when we're thinking about Nikola Jokic, it's really not that obscure because we've seen him do that before. So say it one more time. I'm going to write it down.
We go 12, 8, and 7.
12, 8, and 7 for Dante. Okay. 12, 8, 7. Got that punched in. Okay, I'm going to go.
8 is the rebounds, by the way.
Yeah, points, rebounds, assists. Come on now. Come on now. We know ball.
For the listeners out there.
Of course. Okay, 12, 8, and 7. I'm gonna go 10. I'm gonna go 10, 7, and 6. How about that? So pretty close to you. So
kind of feels like I just got not Wheel of Fortune, Price is Righted there, but
yeah, a little undercut. It's the thing with Jokic is like, does he come out as a primary scorer? Like, does he come out, and play passive and distribute the rock with the assist? He's going to get the rebounds. We know that's what goes on with that. I don't know. It's like there's a chance that Nikola Jokic is within spitting distance of a triple-double by the time that we sign off on the air tonight. So we'll keep you posted with that.
Neil, you want to know a fun fact about Nikola Jokic?
Let's hear it.
He has never gotten a triple-double when I placed a wager on him to get a triple-double, which
That's
seems
tough.
Statistically impossible.
So did you do it tonight?
I did not do it tonight.
Okay, good. So that means he's probably going to get a triple-double.
Yeah, he probably will. I'm like 0-9 all time, which is crazy with the amount of triple-doubles he gets, but just can never do it for me.
I love it. All right, let's hear your thoughts. RamosLaw.com text line 303-713-1043. Lot to unpack here this evening. I think we got to do a state of the Broncos. And, here they are with the bye. Obviously a huge win over the Kansas City Chiefs over the weekend and really kind of getting the monkey off the back and really a hard-fought win for the Denver Broncos, right? The Chiefs aren't the Chiefs of last year, the year prior. Really, this is the most watered-down version of the Kansas City Chiefs, I feel like, that we've seen in this Mahomes-Reed era. Doesn't mean that they're not a good team, but they're just not as good as they have been in years past. But the Broncos have to play who's on their schedule. They get the job done against Kansas City, 22-19. And they're 9-2 now entering into this bye week or in the middle of the bye week now. And then, of course, you've got the Washington Commanders coming off the bye on Sunday Night Football. So a pretty good opportunity for the Broncos to get to 10-2. And I got to put my own foot in the mouth here for just a second. I was the guy that, like Will was talking about it, Cecil was talking about it, 13 wins, 12 wins. I thought they were crazy. I really thought they were crazy. I had them between 10 and 11 wins. That's where I had them. And they're going to blow that out of the water, it seems like, throughout the rest of this NFL season. So kudos to the Broncos, kudos to Will, kudos to Cecil as well. And the weird thing to me, and you and I have talked about this a little bit off air, but I want to get your opinion on air for the record. I think the Broncos are a good team. Their defense, I think, is elite. The offense has room for improvement. I think Sean Payton's a good head coach, right? Things are going well for the Broncos. But do they feel like a 9-2 football team to you right now?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think they do.
Because when you hear 9-2, right, you think dominant, on the fast track for the 1 seed, the 2 seed, which the Broncos are, but, big wins, stomping teams along the way. Like, when you think 9-2, you think dominance, and I don't think the Broncos have been quite dominant.
I don't know if I do think of dominance.
Okay,
because,
that's fair.
I mean, you look at the other teams that have the possibility of going 9-2. Here we're talking about the New England Patriots and the Indianapolis
broad
Colts.
stroke.
I know, but even you go back to last year, I'm sure the Minnesota Vikings were 9-2 at one point last year, and they weren't anything special, especially, you saw that in the playoffs when they got routed by the Rams there in the first round. So I think the NFL is such a big league and such a deep league that, you could be getting away with playing some easier teams early in your schedule, and then maybe it gets more difficult as it goes on. I think there's a lot of parity this year in the AFC as well, to the point where, there is no crazy dominant team in the AFC. You look at, and that reflects in the odds. We were talking about it on the drive here that, the AFC has 5 teams that are all kind of in the mix there. Any of them could really go out and win the conference. 2 of those teams aren't even in the playoffs right now if they started today. So I think there's a lot of parity in the AFC that, 9-2 is a, quote unquote dominant record, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're a dominant team. But I do think the Broncos, I mean, you just said it too, the Broncos have a dominant defense. This is a 9-2 defense. This is a potentially could have been a 10-0, 11-0 kind of defense that they have. So I don't think 9-2 is, like a facade or, people like to throw out the word fraud out there. I don't think this is a fraudulent 9-2 by any means.
I don't think so either. And I was in the middle of the win streak. I changed my tune now after the Kansas City win because that was the game that I was looking forward to, right? Okay, you beat the Giants in crazy comeback fashion. I think that's what is the definition of luck? When preparation meets opportunity. Obviously, the Broncos had the opportunity, and Sean Payton and the offense, Bo Nix and company, were prepared for the moment, right? So you like that. An ugly win against the Jets. Like, I didn't come away from any of these games minus the Cincinnati game and the Dallas game, where I was like, okay, like this is what you want to see with a team that can go out there and contend for a championship. All the other wins, for the most part, and I'm not trying to poo-poo Philly as well. Let me throw that in there. Excuse me, I forgot about that. I'm really thinking about the Giants, the Jets, the Texans, some of these wins. But I say all of that to say this. I just got to temper my expectations because I think, to Dante's point, I think not even just the AFC. I think the NFL as a whole is littered with parity. I think there's more parity in the NFL right now than there has been in the last, 10, 15 years combined? And it's also pretty fun. I mean, you and I are around the same age, Dante. Like, I'm looking at the standings, right? And it's like the Broncos, the Patriots, the Colts. And it takes me back to Tom Brady, Jake Plummer, Peyton Manning when he was with the Broncos, obviously Peyton Manning with the Colts. And so it's a little bit of throwback in that sense.
Well, you can add the Steelers to that, too.
The Steelers, 100%.
They're winning the NFC North, or the AFC North. Those are the 4 division winners as of right now.
I know they're in technicality winning it, but I also think they're doing their best job not to lose it with the way that they've been playing as of late. So we'll see what happens with that division as a whole. But again, going back to me of the tempering of the expectations, like part of the reason why even during the win streak up until the win against Kansas City, I was skeptical about the Broncos is just because I didn't like what I was seeing on offense. But then I'm looking around the league and I'm looking at Philadelphia, right? And we're seeing some of these other teams that have, the Bills are obviously sound on offense. Defense is a whole nother story. The Patriots with Drake May are doing well. And I'm saying, you know what? This Broncos offense paired with this defense, it might just be enough this year because this isn't 2015. This isn't 2014 where you had, the no-fly zone with the Broncos and, the Seattle Seahawks with that defense, of course, and their offense with Russell Wilson and beast mode and whatnot. And so I just think the league has changed, and shame on me for not adjusting as quickly as maybe I should have. But the Broncos, after that win against the Kansas City Chiefs, I can sit back here and say, you know what? They can do it. I'm not saying they're going to do it. There's a long road ahead for the Denver Broncos. But, there was a lot of people during this win streak that were talking Super Bowl contender, Sean Payton, talking about that in training camp as well, about there's a handful of teams in my career that I've coached that I think can win a championship. This is one of them. I thought that was complete just fanboying from Sean Payton. That's not the case right now, Dante.
No, absolutely not. I believed him then, and I believe him now. I actually think if you look at it, the AFC and the NFC have kind of switched in terms of, NFC very top-loaded. I think you look at the Eagles and you look at the Rams, you'd be pretty surprised if it wasn't one of those two teams representing the NFC.
Let me say this real quick. I would be shocked if the Rams don't come out of the NFC.
Really? Okay. Well, I still give the Eagles a fair chance as well. But
fair.
Regardless.
I just think the Rams are solid.
Yeah, I agree. I agree as well. But I think in years past, you could say that about the AFC of it's either the Chiefs or the Bills, or maybe you can throw the Ravens in there too, but there's not really another team that could represent the AFC. And in years past, the NFC was very wide open. It could have been, a group of, any 6 teams out there. So I think those roles have just kind of flipped this particular season at least. We'll see how it ends up there, but I don't think it's anything crazy new for the NFL to have this much parity. I think it's just the AFC is a little bit down compared to what we've seen in the past, but I mean, you still have Josh Allen lurking. They're 7-3.
Oh, yeah.
That's not a bad Bills team. Maybe they lost some games they shouldn't have, and the Falcons, and they lost to the Patriots as well in Buffalo. But I still think there's a lot of legitimate threats in the AFC that can go out and win this, and you're going to see a lot of these veteran quarterbacks have to go on the road early in the playoffs. I brought it up during the drive, but there's a chance that the 3 wildcard teams in the AFC are the Bills, the Ravens, and the Chiefs.
Crazy.
There's a chance that those 3 teams would be favorites in the first round of the playoffs, all of them. So I think
the Chiefs were 4.5-point road favorites last week against Denver.
Exactly, and I think if they played next week, I think it would be kind of similar, maybe 2.5.
Yeah, under a field goal, I think.
Yeah, but still, I don't think it'd be crazy to say that the Chiefs would be favorites in that game. So I think we're just in for a really fun AFC playoffs. How we usually see that in the NFC, where the NFC is usually very fun playoffs, not as top heavy. All the teams have a great opportunity to go out and do it.
I think you could go. Maybe I'll do this tomorrow just for fun. I think if you go around the office, right? You ask Richie, you ask Zach, you ask Phil, you ask Mark and Mike, and all these different guys, Cecil and Dover. I think the reason I bring that up too, you could make a case, who's the best team in the NFL? I think if you ask all those people, there's going to be a medley of different answers. Typically, there's usually 1 or 2 teams that people pick, right? Like last year, Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, Philly as well, right? Those were kind of the teams. This year, I think you make a case for Indianapolis, you make a case for Denver, you make a case for New England, you make a case for the Rams, the Eagles, the Ravens, maybe not best team, but, point being, there's so many options with how this season could play out, AFC, NFC, Super Bowl champion, and all that kind of stuff. That's why I think the Broncos are in a great place right now. Good text to your RamosLaw.com text line if you want to get involved, 303-713-1043. This is from Matt in Wash Park. He says, I think the Broncos are a poor man's 2000 Baltimore Ravens. Really good defense, not so great on offense. Okay, I can subscribe to that a little bit. And there's been some talk about, oh my gosh, like this Broncos offense at times looks like Tebow-esque, right? This Broncos team looks Tebow-esque, dog water for 3 quarters and turn it on the 4th. Okay, I can see that a little bit, but I do think that this Denver Broncos team is much more similar to that of the 2015 Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos teams than it was of that of the Tim Tebow era Denver Broncos. Point being is, look, I'm not saying Bo Nix is Peyton Manning. I'm not going down that road whatsoever, and I understand that Peyton was a shell of himself that season with the injuries and coming back in the Super Bowl, but you still had the mind of Peyton Manning, right? There was some juice with that a little bit, and again, I'm not comparing the two, but the Broncos defense right now is playing at an elite level, just like the 2015 squad was. And I think with Sean Payton and Bo Nix hopefully growing with confidence in the receivers, and we'll see what happens with running back, the Broncos offense can do just enough to win these games because of how good their defense is. And that's why I think the Broncos have an opportunity to go out there and win the AFC West, go out there and be the 1 seed in the AFC, and go out there and contend for a championship. All of those things are on the table, something that I probably would have said maybe not would have been the case from my personal perspective entering the season.
Yeah, I would have said before the year, I think they had a chance to go represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. They would have had to overcome some obstacles in the playoffs to get there. Most likely, going on the road and winning some games. But the path is kind of clear for this team to the point where they might be the team that's hosting these playoff games in multiple rounds of the playoffs, having teams come to them, having teams have to deal with the home field crowd and that advantage.
Look at the win streak they're on right now at home.
Exactly. They're very good at home, and I think the Broncos have an incredible home field advantage, especially with that defense the way they have it. And I don't know if I should say this. You can say this might be a hot take here. I think this version of Bo Nix, there's a chance it's better than the 2015 version of Peyton Manning. I don't think that's that crazy.
No,
I'm not
I don't think that's that crazy.
Declare it, but
it's when you rest your head at night, you still felt confident because of who Peyton is and who he was as a player. Whereas I think the results with Bo Nix, a bit flip-floppy, right? Hot and cold. And I understand that Peyton was more cold than hot in that 2015 season, but you still would, again, rest your head at night and say, we still have Peyton Manning and the mind of Peyton Manning and everything, the aura that Peyton Manning brings to the table, that I think you felt a little bit more confident with Peyton Manning as the quarterback than that of Bo Nix. But point being, they're all kind of in the same realm right now of conversation and dynamics with this Denver Broncos team. So I'm excited to see how this season finishes up in the regular season and what happens for the playoffs, of course, with the Denver Broncos. Again, there's a realistic chance they can get the number 1 seed in the AFC. And to Dante's point, and I heard Phil talking about it at the end of the drive as well, to have that home field advantage, not just for one game, but to have it throughout, would be pivotal. Absolutely pivotal, because the Broncos have shown, going back to last year and so far this year, they are darn near impossible to beat at home, especially with the way that defense is playing this year, right? Because right around this time last year is when the defense kind of went from being elite to tapering off just a little bit. Still a great unit, but not as good as they were to open up the season. Versus this year, I don't see any signs of this defense slowing down. They've been without Pat Surtain for a handful of games. They've been just fine. Alex Singleton, who I know people love to pick on, when he's in the game and when he's playing, is always at the top of the list for total tackles for the Denver Broncos. He's a ball hawk. They're able to fill that void. And so you're telling me you strip away a reigning defending defensive player of the year in Pat Surtain and you don't lose a game and your defense doesn't look like it skips a beat? And that's not a slight to PS2 at all. I think it speaks to the depth that the Broncos have on this defense and the overall coaching of Vance Joseph. So you love where the defense is at right now. It's just a matter of, can the offense do their part? Because if the defense keeps playing like they have been over the course of this win streak, they're going to be a really tough team to beat, just because you're not going to be able to score more than 20 points on them. So the question is, can Bo Nix, can Sean Payton take this bye week as an opportunity to go out to the mountains and touch some grass and get some fresh air and come back with a renewed game plan and get this offense kicked into gear? Because right now it's been fine. The offense has been fine. 7 out of 10. Passing grade.
7 out of 10 is a bit high.
It might be a little bit high, but you know what I'm getting at.
I think that sometimes it's a 3 and sometimes it's a 10.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's
the fourth
the
quarter.
Yeah.
Exactly. But, they're like a C average, call it that, on offense for the season. If they can get, and I'm not saying they got to be, you'd love for them to be an A+. I don't think they're getting there, but can they be a B+? Can they be more consistent? Can they play with a lead as opposed to having to come from behind? If all of this comes together for the Broncos, man, buckle up.
Where do you think the absence of J.K. Dobbins plays into this? Do you think we see a better version of the offense than what we've seen just because, everyone's kind of rallying together? We've seen that in sports, from time to time where a major contributor goes out and everyone kind of steps up their level of play, or, it could also be confusing to the defense. It's not as predictable of an offense when you can have, 5 different guys going out and catching the ball, running the ball. We had 9 different Broncos have receptions in this last game against the Chiefs. Or do you see it the other way where it kind of slowly catches up to them? It's like, oh, wow, they really need this run game to get going, and they don't really have a guy on the roster that can step into that role.
I think it's a combination of the two. I'm not sure that it's ever going to catch up to them necessarily, just because the Broncos' running game last season could not have been worse than it was, and the Broncos still managed to win games and make the playoffs. So I don't think, I think losing J.K. Dobbins is obviously critical for this Denver Broncos team. And I don't think they're going to go out there and sign anybody. Latavius Murray, old pal, they did that with Lil Jordan Humphrey at the receiver position. I don't think that there's anybody new coming into this building to help out the Denver Broncos in the running back room. I think it'll be a combination of Tyler Bidet, R.J. Harvey, and Jaleel McLaughlin, who has been unleashed from the shadow realm after being banished there for essentially the entire season.
Were you surprised with how much Jaleel played and then how he played pretty well?
No, I'm not surprised at it because he's a Sean Payton guy. And Sean talked about, he's the first guy in the building during training camp. Like when Sean Payton attaches himself to a player, when that player is in a position to make to have opportunities and make plays, he will give them that opportunity. And so I think that Jaleel McLaughlin, look, I don't think he's going to be J.K. Dobbins. But you know what else is another factor? If you do need to lean on him a little bit more, that body's fresh. It's a guy that's been on the practice squad. He hasn't been taking hits throughout the course of the regular season. And I'm not saying that's going to be a total difference maker, but you do like the ability to have a guy like Jaleel McLaughlin that understands your offense, that is also relatively fresh because of the lack of playing time. So hopefully that packs a little bit of a punch for this Denver Broncos offense moving forward as well. So we'll see. I think, The thing that I'm still trying to wrap my head around with this Broncos offense is why is Courtland Sutton not more involved in the game plan? Where is Evan Ingram, the guy that we were hyped up all off season about the Joker role? He has been anything but a Joker for the most part this season for the Broncos, right? So it's interesting to me that the Broncos are able to win these games and put up some points at the same time in a couple of their other games, despite the fact that I feel like they're very far away from reaching their full potential on offense, if that makes sense. If I'm using a percentage gauge, the Broncos are 75% of what I think they could be on offense. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, no, I think that's very fair as well. I think that this offense leaves a lot to be desired from what we've seen this season, and if they could ever really kick it into gear, which, typically is Sean Payton's calling card here, is that he's able to get, an offensive team get going. That's what we saw for so many years in New Orleans down there. So if they could figure that aspect of the game out, I really do think this could be the team hosting the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the year. I think that's a big if, and I think regardless, though, I think the Broncos are in a good situation going forward, at least with Bo Nix, because even if they're not the team that's in the Super Bowl representing the AFC, even if they're not the team that's hoisting the Lombardi Trophy, I think it's a great learning experience for Bo Nix, and I think that only means we're going to see a better version of him into next year and the future.
The other thing that I'm waiting to see with Bo Nix, and I think this much is just crystal clear at this point, he's a better off-script quarterback than he is than that of one that drops back in the pocket and lets it rip. And so I'm wondering, it's hard to, Sean hates the tempo conversation, hates that question whenever it comes up in the press conferences or it's even alluded to a higher pace of play on offense. But it just seems like Bo Nix is at his most comfortable when he's able to shimmy in and around the pocket, make some off-schedule throws, throw on the run, throw off the back foot, as opposed to dropping back and dropping dimes, which is what we saw Drew Brees do for a long time in New Orleans. So I wonder if there's a way to kind of make both parties happy or maybe make both parties more comfortable, because the take that I've been saying all season with the Broncos offense, I'm not saying square peg round hole, but it seems like Sean Payton is waiting for Bo to catch up to him, as opposed to Sean coming down to Bo's level a little bit. Fair or unfair? I'm a sports talk radio host, but I'm not a football lifer. I'm not in the building, so I don't know what these conversations are like. I'm just telling you what my eyes are showing me. And what I'm seeing with Bo Nix is when he's able to scramble and make those impromptu plays, that's when the Denver Broncos offense has been their most dynamic and dangerous this season, Dante.
I agree, but I don't think you can build your offense based on that. I think we've seen that in the NFL time and time again, that, this off-schedule stuff, it's great that you have that in your tool belt, but it can't be the main thing you're using. I think Sean Payton understands that, and that's what I think Sean Payton is waiting for him to catch up to his playbook. You got to win from the pocket in the NFL. That's just the way the league works. The defenses are too good to say, oh, I'm the best athlete out there, I'm going to make it work. that works in college. We see it all the time. Johnny Manziel was awesome. He was electric in college. Doesn't quite translate to the NFL. So I like that Sean Payton is holding Bo Nix accountable to this and saying, hey, we're going to have to win my way, and that's from the pocket. And yeah, great, you can do these other things, but that's just, the icing on the cake. That's just the in addition. We see it all the time. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, they make those highlight plays, but guess what? They're also making the layups for, 20 of their 25 completions that game. 20 of them are going to be the normal throws that almost every quarterback in the NFL can make, and then it's those 5 extra plays a game that really going above and beyond. And I think it's great that Bo has that extra bit, that he has that extra gear to go into, but he needs to be more consistent, makes the layup, do all that stuff to really have a consistent game for 60 minutes, not just wait for the last fourth quarter when you're down.
Yeah, that's absolutely based. And I think that's what Broncos fans are looking for is consistency. Like, obviously, we'd love to go back to 2012 and 2013 when Peyton Manning was just running up scores against teams, and these opposing organizations just wouldn't even have a chance to win these games because of how high octane this Broncos offense was at the time. The Broncos this year are never going to be that. At least I don't think so. Maybe they flipped the switch and they've been saving these plays. We haven't seen them. That's tinfoil hat. Again, I don't think that's happening. But the key for the Broncos to go out there and win the division and contend for the 1 seed and contend for a Super Bowl, it's not the defense, it's consistency on the offense. Because I think what we were given the letter grade or the scale of 1 to 10, and you said sometimes they've been a 3, sometimes they've been a 10. That's where I go back to 7 out of 10, right? It's like that's where I think they're at. But like, can you up your average a little bit? Can you be more steady and not have to play from behind and have all these wonderful come from behind victories as we've seen with the Broncos? We'll find out. And that's why I also think this bye week is coming at the absolute perfect time for Denver because their schedule has been a mess. I mean, just think about this for a moment. They have the Monday Night Football game against Cincinnati, all right? So you're home there after the loss of the Chargers. Then you travel to Philadelphia across the country to take on the Eagles. You go from Philly to London, beat the Jets, come home to face the Giants and the Cowboys. I mean, the amount of games the Broncos played with the travel involved, it's impressive that they're on this win streak. And I understand that the Giants and the Jets aren't great, and I'm honing in on those two games in particular, but they were able to take care of business when the schedule was a bit wacky at times for this Denver Broncos team. So all in all, man, you've got to be absolutely thrilled with where the Denver Broncos are at right now. 9-2, first place in the AFC West, beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and you look like you're well on your way to being a legitimate contender in the AFC Conference. So let me know your thoughts on the RamosLaw.com text line. Appreciate all of y'all tapping in with us here this evening. The text line is humming right now, so want to keep getting your thoughts out there. We'll read some of them on the air. All right, let's hit a break. When we come back, let's continue along with that conversation, kind of doing a state of the Denver Broncos here on their bye week, getting ready to come back and take on the Washington Commanders after the bye, taking a look at the AFC as a whole. Dante and I will break that down when we come back next.
Tune into The Rundown with Richie Carney every weekday at noon on YouTube, Facebook, or X. Presented in part by The Birdie Bar, Louisville's premier indoor golf bar experience. Check out this week's live music, trivia, and other fantastic events at thebirdie.bar on the web and Instagram. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Just how good is Pure Talk's current deal for unlimited wireless? Well, you might say it's the deal of your lifetime. Because right now, for just $29.95 a month, Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for life. Not your phone's life, your life. This is Pure Talk's top-tier plan. It comes with a crazy fast 5G network along with a 30-gig hotspot. And at just $29.95 a month, there has never been a better opportunity to lock in a ridiculously low rate for as long as you live, and save thousands and thousands of dollars along the way. This plan is normally $65 a month, but if you switch today, you will save over 50% every single month for the rest of your life. See what I mean? It really is the deal of your lifetime. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. Offer ends 12/7. Some restrictions apply. Details at puretalk.com.
Brandon Stokely here for ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Cold weather's coming fast. Do you have a game plan for winter? If your heating system is more suited for the bench, now is the best time to upgrade your system with the best pricing of the year. Take advantage of tax credits and energy rebates before they run out. Only from my team at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair, ROX. rocks, heating and air.
I'm Brad Barnett, president of Mountain High Appliance. Visit our Denver Clearance Center during our Black Friday sale going on now. Save up to 75% on name brand appliances like Whirlpool, KitchenAid, GE and Bosch. With unbeatable prices on top quality appliances, now is the perfect time to upgrade your home. Don't miss out on these exclusive deals. Visit us today at the Denver Clearance Center. When you think appliances, think Mountain High Appliance. Open 7 days a week.
Mountain High Appliance, your favorite appliance store.
Thank you.
After a car accident, you might wonder, do I really need a lawyer? But at Postman Law, we go beyond the courtroom. We're your single point of contact for insurance, medical bills, and doctors. Get the outcome you deserve without the headache.
Call 844-POSTMAN, attorney advertising.
I'm Corey Rose, anchor at 9 News and proud mama who enjoys taking my kids mountain biking at Winter Park. I love preparing you for the day ahead with the latest headlines. Whether it's tackling safety in our kids' schools or covering breaking news, from Aurora to Lakewood and everywhere in between, we've got you covered. Because when news moves fast, you need a team that moves with you. Make the move to 9 News Mornings. Weekday mornings live starting at 4:30 anywhere you watch.
Happy holidays from Done Right Home Improvements. Putting off that home makeover till after the holidays? Well, good, because book your project now for install after and save 16% or get a great financing deal. drhi.com.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here from my friends at Xfinity. Imagine all that could happen in 5 years. Jobs may change, kids are going to grow, new memes will come out, but also, what if you had reliable, intelligent Wi-Fi and the price didn't change for 5 years? Well, thanks to Xfinity 5-year price guarantee, you actually don't have to worry about that part of your future. You're guaranteed 5 years of Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to your devices that need them the most, that finds and fixes any issues before you even notice them. It's like a super intelligent Wi-Fi that keeps you protected from threats online. Plus, you get incredible gaming speeds on multiple devices with no one battling for bandwidth. For the next 5 years, all your devices are going to be working in perfect harmony, and you get our best equipment with no annual contracts, no fees, no strings attached. So even though your kids will grow up and you still won't understand what 6-7 means, your internet will stay sharp, reliable, and most importantly, the price will stay put. All with the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Select plans only.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan.
Welcome on back in to Denver Sports Tonight, right here on 104.3 The Fan. Danilo Piro, Dante Gomez, rocking with you here on the program. Hope everyone is doing well out there. Let's take a look at the update here for our little game that we played to start the show. So the Nuggets are actually losing to the 2-12 New Orleans Pelicans off the rip here. They're down 29-24. About a minute and change left to play here in the first quarter. But Nikola Jokic, he hit my point total. He's already at 10. Dante, you had him at 12. So we're over there. We're well on our way there. He's got 3 assists and 3 rebounds. So we're going to need him to pick it up on the rebounds and the assist department here a little bit as well. But Nikola Jokic off to a pretty good start. He does have 4 turnovers, though. So I'm not watching the game, but I'll turn it on once I am done with the show here tonight. I would be shocked if the Nuggets end up losing this game to New Orleans. Pelicans are a lifeless team. I don't think Zion's playing. Or no, he is playing tonight, excuse me. So return for Zion there. But the Nuggets, after a bad loss to the Chicago Bulls, they got to get right here against New Orleans. By the way, I was just looking just for fun because, you know, the Pelicans, as I alluded to, are an absolute mess. You could have sat like row 2 or row 3 at the Smoothie King Arena tonight in New Orleans for like $200. It was crazy. I was looking last night. So virtually courtside in New Orleans to watch the best player in the world, Nikola Jokic, do his thing for essentially $200. That's like less than a round of golf at a great golf course, which is just insane. So I might just go to New Orleans for fun at some point this season when there's a good team in town that I want to see or a superstar. Maybe Houston, go see Kevin Durant up close and personal. You know, if you're looking for just something to do, take a trip. I mean, you can go like literally sit darn near courtside for a couple $100, which is absolutely insane. So I just wanted to throw that one out there, which is, it just blows my mind that you could sit that close for an NBA game for that cheap.
Yeah, want to know something real weird?
Tell me.
We had a representative of a company come by and drop off a bunch of stuff that they sell, food and drinks and whatnot. Smoothie King.
Really?
Out of the blue. So I don't know if that's good juju or bad juju for the Nuggets, but that did happen earlier today.
That is an interesting correlation there with the Smoothie King dropping off the smoothies. So we'll see what happens with the Denver Nuggets. We'll keep you updated here throughout the course of the program. They're down 29-26 with a minute and change left to play in the first quarter. Okay, back to the Denver Broncos here. We kind of did a state of the organization in the opening sweep there to get us started. But I want to kind of pick Dante's brain, and I know Zach and Phil were having this conversation as well. Like, if you're a Bronco fan, who are you rooting for this weekend? Are you rooting for Kansas City or are you rooting for Indianapolis? I think the answer is pretty simple. I think you have to root for Kansas City. And I understand that's sacrilegious. Dante's shaking his head, so we'll get his opinion here in a moment. You're always going to be worried about Kansas City because of who they are, but I think Kansas City is not losing this game to Indianapolis. And maybe that's a hot take for me to say. I was shocked with how bad, I shouldn't say how bad because the Broncos defense is good, but I thought the Chiefs offense would have a little bit more bite to them in that game on Sunday against the Broncos. I mean, if they are going to play with their absolute backs against the wall against Indianapolis on Sunday. We'll see how it shakes out. I mean, maybe the Chiefs are just an absolutely mid-team this year. Maybe that's just the reality of the situation. I'm still not firmly believing in the Colts because of who their quarterback is and Daniel Jones. Love Jonathan Taylor. Love some of the pieces that they have. The coach is, getting some validation right now, as is the GM. But I think you got to root for the Colts, or you got to root for the Chiefs here, because to me, the number one priority for the Broncos moving forward this season, you should not be looking down and hoping and it's okay to hope and pray that the Chiefs don't make the playoffs, but that should not be a focus for this team or of that of the fan base. The Broncos, I think, have shown now that you've beat the Chiefs, you shouldn't be afraid of them the same way that you have been if you have to play them again in the playoffs. Obviously, they're going to play them again one more time this season. For me, the focus for the Broncos right now is get that 1 seed. Go out there, and I understand that New England kind of controls their own destiny because of the games that they have, and the Colts as well with the AFC opponents, and where New England's at with their schedule, and yada, yada, yada. But if the Broncos can get the 1 seed, we're sitting here right now when they're not going to get the 1 seed, or potentially not, and we're saying the Broncos have a chance to win the Super Bowl. If the Broncos get the 1 seed this year, man, and they have home field advantage all throughout, and they only got to win 2 playoff games to get to the Super Bowl, you feel a lot better about almost double. It feels like the Broncos' chances would double to make the Super Bowl if they were the 1 seed, Dante.
I don't know. I'm still worried about Kansas City in the playoffs. I think that's somebody you definitely don't want to face. I'll put it this way. What game would you feel more confident in the Broncos? Going to Indianapolis or hosting the Chiefs? Because that's kind of what your rooting interests are, depending on the
my
game.
Initial gut, I was about to spit out on the road against the Colts, or on the road against the Colts, just because of who the Colts are and Daniel Jones. But I'm looking at this Broncos defense, and I'm looking at this Broncos home field advantage, and I actually think the home field advantage might mean more to me than playing a mid-quarterback in Daniel Jones, at least mid compared to that of Patrick Mahomes. I don't think that's crazy. I just think getting the 1 seed and having those home playoff games could potentially make all the difference for the Broncos.
See, I disagree. I think you want to get the Chiefs out of the playoff bracket if you can, and them losing this game is a way for them to really be behind the 8 ball. They might have to win out at that point to make it into the playoffs. I mean, I think right now they're the 9 or 10 seed and only 7 teams make it. So they got a couple games to catch up here. And if you can have them lose again this weekend, that's really setting them back. So,
I just don't like the idea of looking in the rearview mirror. And I think that's what you'd be doing with the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, you beat them once, right? You kind of buried them in the division. You got the monkey off the back. I think you need to look forward and control what you can control. You can't control Kansas City right now.
I understand that. Real quick, are you saying the monkey's off the back for the Broncos and Chiefs? You think that's
not completely,
done?
but I think it was a big, a big confidence boost. Like, you don't have those same daunting thoughts going into the Chiefs, the next matchup against the Chiefs, as you did going into this one potentially.
I agree, but I'm still not a team I want to face in the playoffs. I mean, just given their playoff history and how well they do in the playoff. I mean, Andy Reid, one of the greatest coaches of all time. Patrick Mahomes, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Look,
Spagnuolo is a fantastic defensive coordinator. He gets those guys ready to play, especially in the playoffs when it could be a little more physical, a little more grabby. Those guys are used to that level of football. The Colts, I don't know, something about it. Daniel Jones does not worry me. He screams 2024 Sam Darnold, Minnesota Vikings. You get to the playoffs, he's going to turn into a pumpkin.
I was about to say the exact same thing. One of these three teams, the Broncos, the Colts, the Patriots, which one is the 2022 Vikings? Because one of these teams is a paper tiger. Maybe more than one. Maybe all three. Now, I don't think the Broncos are because of their defense. But I'm still waiting for the bottom to fall out on one of these three teams. Again, I don't think it's going to be the Broncos. That win against the Chiefs did a lot for me personally in regards to my belief and the momentum and all that kind of stuff with the confidence moving forward. But the other reason that I'm not overly concerned, at least with the Colts, I think the Patriots is a different story for the 1 seed. Their schedule is pretty brutal down the stretch, man. I mean, obviously they got the Kansas City Chiefs coming up here this Sunday. Then you've got the Houston Texans, and I understand the Texans haven't been as good as maybe people thought they would be this season, but that's a team that has a chance to make the playoffs. So you're going to get a best punch from Houston in that game. You got Jacksonville, who's been pretty competitive this season. You got the Seahawks, who are a competitive team this year as well, and one of the more surprising teams in the NFL. San Francisco, despite all of their injuries after the game against Seattle, they've been cleaning up. You got the Jaguars again and the Texans again. There is not a single easy give-me game left on the Indianapolis Colts schedule. So they play the Texans twice, they play the Jags twice. Let's assume they split there.
So this is only more reason that you should be rooting for the Colts to win this game. Because you don't think they're going to be the 1 seed anyway. They have such a difficult road to get there. And to me also, the Broncos...
I want to kick them I want to bury them early. Like, I want the Broncos to have to, the last few weeks to have a pretty clear picture of where they're going to be.
Yeah, but they might not even have that because of the Patriots.
It's fair.
So it's not... to me, it's the opportunity of... Are the Chiefs going to be in the playoffs? Yes, no. And then are the Broncos going to be the 1 seed? It's a 3-horse race at that point.
Yeah.
I don't care if one of the horses is still in the race because you're still racing against a different one.
I'm trying to chop the trees in front of me. I chopped the Chiefs tree last week. Right?
It's not dead, though.
No, it's not dead. That I agree, but I chopped it. Right? I want to see the Colts get chopped. I want to see the Patriots get chopped. Now, I don't think the Patriots will because their schedule is pretty favorable down the stretch here. But I think any loss for the Patriots or the Colts is a good thing for the Denver Broncos. That's not rocket science, obviously.
No, I agree with you.
But I think, to me, that outweighs that of the Chiefs.
I see it the other way, but yeah. I don't think you're crazy for seeing it that way. I'm just more concerned about the Chiefs than the Colts.
And I understand the level of concern with the Chiefs, but you also can't. If you're living in a world in a thought of doubt about the Chiefs and worry with the Chiefs, that's the wrong mindset to have, period.
No,
that's a losing mindset.
It's not a thought of doubt. It's a thought of easiest road to the Super Bowl. And to me, the easiest road would be going to Indianapolis versus hosting the Chiefs.
See, I actually think it's a debate just because of how the Broncos have been playing at home and their defense. I mean, how much better? And look, I know it's the playoffs, so things change, but I don't know. I think the Broncos at this point, I don't think there's a single team in the NFL the Broncos should fear when they play at home. That's kind of where I'm at with them at home and with this defense as a whole. Let me know if you agree or disagree. RamosLaw.com text line, 303-713-1043. We got a text here. We need the Colts to beat the Chiefs. The Colts still have a tough remaining schedule, as we just alluded to. Another text here. Bring on the Chiefs. More than happy to kick their rear ends even worse. Love it, love it, love it. Let us know your thoughts on that text line, and away we go. All right, let's hit a break. When we come back, we'll put a bow on the show. Good conversation on the Broncos. We'll update you with the Nuggets score. And Shedeur Sanders, old pal, Colorado Buffaloes legend, retiree, getting his first NFL start this Sunday against the Las Vegas Raiders. What do we think of that? We'll talk about it next.
Is Vance Joseph coaching his way toward a much bigger opportunity after this season?
You have the league's best defense. You're going to end up flirting with the all-time NFL sack record, and you're doing it without the Defensive Player of the Year and your leading tackler, who are two different people. Yeah. Phil, he's got 6 more regular season games left in Denver.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Hey, it's Mike Evans with Todd Whalen from Advanced Tax Solutions. Well, Todd, it couldn't last forever. The government shutdown is over. The IRS is back and ready to roll. What does that mean for folks who have an IRS bullseye painted on their back?
Well, Mike, we've seen this once before. They were completely closed during the pandemic. And what happened? They came out with their gloves on and started levying people. So now, if you have an IRS problem, it's way better if you can get a solution before you get the levy notice. You have more options, you have more time, we have the ability to do a better job. So if you're ready and it's time to get this IRS problem off your back, now's the time.
All right, Todd, I get it. The IRS is back. They mean business, but you know what? You mean business too. You've been doing this for a long time. You're ready to help folks out with all of their IRS tax issues. Give Advanced Tax Solutions a call today, 303-753-6040. That's 303-753-6040.
Gobble, 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 gobble. Oh, man, I do a terrible turkey impersonation. Hey, everybody, Dan Jacobs from Jacobs Law and 303 Law 4040. Those of you that listen to the Dan Jacobs Show know that I just love the holidays. But I also know these holidays in particular can be really tough on a lot of people, whether it's the government shutdown, inflation, the economy, whatever it is, or some people just have a hard time during the holidays as it is every single year. It's just a hard time of year for them. As always, we want to be here for you. If we can help out with a little bit of that with free food and groceries, we would love to have you any first or third Thursday of the month. Come on out to Eastern Hills Church at Smoky Hill and Arapahoe Road. We're even doing smoked ham and turkey this month in honor of Thanksgiving. So if you need it, anybody, no questions asked. You just pull up and pop the trunk. 4 to 6 p.m., Eastern Hills Community Church, every first and third Thursday, Smoky Hill and Arapahoe Road.
Hey guys, your boy Steve here today about my long-term buddy Troy Hansford. And if you're thinking about selling your house for any reason, now might be the time to sell, still get top dollar. Believe it or not, my guy Troy is still offering his $5,000 guarantee. What is it, you ask? Well, if he can't sell your house at your price on your timeline that you agree upon beforehand, bam, going to cut you a check for $5,000. Who else makes the offer? Nobody I've ever heard of. And he makes that offer because he continues to spend a ton of money marketing his listings, has about 100 families approved and ready to buy right now. And if for any reason you need to sell right away, Troy can buy your house all cash and he can close in as little as 7 days. You have a house to sell, Troy probably has that perfect buyer for you right now, waiting for you to pick up the phone and to call him. Call Troy, get your home sold for the most money. That's 720-900-4433, 720-900-4433. Troy Hansford of RE/MAX Professionals, a Colorado licensed broker. Some restrictions do apply. You want to sell your house? Then call my buddy Troy, 720-900-4433.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now, the company's changed. Or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So, what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan today, 720-204-8100. That's 720-204-8100.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. See website for details.
Oh, hey, welcome to gift wrapping. Whoa, Zoe Saldana.
Hey, can you wrap these, please?
Wow, iPhone 17s. You splurged.
At T-Mobile, you can get 4 iPhone 17s on them. The new center stage front camera is amazing for group selfies. It's the perfect gift for everyone.
I'm the worst. I only got my mom a robe.
Well, it's better than socks.
So, I have to trade in my old phone, right?
No, at T-Mobile, there's no trade-ins needed when you switch. Keep your old phone or give it as a gift.
Incredible.
In fact, wrap up my old phone, too. For my Aunt Rosa. Forget that. Aunt Liz will be jealous.
Sounds like my family. Drama.
Oh, I got it. I'll give it to my abuela. I'll take reindeer paper with, hey, where are you going?
To T-Mobile.
The holidays are better at T-Mobile. Get 4 iPhone 17s on us. No trade-in needed when you switch. Plus 4 lines for just $25 a line.
With
24 monthly bill credits and 4 eligible port-ins on essentials. For well-qualified customers, auto-pay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end in balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 256 gigabytes, $830 required. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Joel Klatt, the nation's leading voice in college football, joins Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth every Wednesday morning. Presented by Groove Toyota. Here we go. Tune in at 8:10 for exclusive insight, bold analysis, and maybe just a hint of shenanigans. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan. Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Sports Tonight.
They told me bust out my AP. Perfect time, man. Got them baguettes up on my
Welcome on back into the program, Denver Sports Tonight, right here on 104.3 The Fan. Danilo Piro, Dante Gomez. I'm on social media at Media by AP. If you want to continue the conversation off air, you can check me out over there on X, Instagram. Hit me up, give me a follow, get a DM, have some fun. Talk a little sports. That came out wrong. Apologize for that. But you know what I'm talking about there. So check us out there. And, of course, online, DenverSports.com and the Denver Sports social channels, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, X, Facebook. Make sure to follow us there, and we'll keep you updated with all of your Denver sports news and notes. The Denver Nuggets down 2 points now to the New Orleans Pelicans, 40-38. Nikola Jokic, let me hit the refresh button here. 10 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. So I'm not sure if Jokic's going to get back into the game. I'm not sure if he's in right now, but late in the second quarter might be on the bench. Not sure if he's going to get there for Dante and I, but 10-4-4, well on his way to a triple-double, Dante.
Yeah, no, someone on the text line said they did bet on Jokic to have a triple-double and then begged me not to bet on it because I have a poor history of doing so. I did not. No worries for you there, sir.
Good man, Dante. So a couple of texts I want to read off here before we get to Shedeur Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes. Love this one from 9271. If the Colts are the Vikings, then they will get bounced in the divisional game anyway. I just want to see the Chiefs cry at home in January. Love that. Love the pettiness from Broncos country out there. And I want to say this, too. I don't think Dante or I are right or wrong. I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer to the question that we threw out there of, like, who are you rooting for this weekend or who do you want to win, the Chiefs or the Colts? The fact that we're even having this conversation, I think, is a great thing. It's the first time we've been able to have this conversation in the Mile High City for over, essentially a decade right now. So all in all, the Broncos are in a great place right now. And I think, especially for me, what it comes down to, though, is at home with the win streak and the defense and just everything that's going for them at home with the fans and the advantage and the altitude. It's a tough place to play. Anything the Broncos can do to get more home games in the playoffs, they should do. That's what you should want, in my opinion. So good conversation there with my guy Dante and everyone here on the RamosLaw.com text line, 303-713-1043. Transitioning to a different NFL team, Shedeur Sanders, number 2, retired up there in Boulder on the facade at Folsom Field. He will get his first career NFL start coming up on Sunday against the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, Shedeur got into that game last week when Dylan Gabriel went out with a concussion. Didn't exactly look great, threw the interception, off balance, made a couple of all right throws, standard throws, I guess you could say. But not exactly what I think people were hoping to see from Shedeur Sanders in his first NFL regular season action. Now, I think we all expect, and Dante, I'll get your opinion here in a moment, that will change this week against the Raiders. I think he'll look more competent, right? Kevin Stefanski came out after the game last week and said Shedeur hasn't taken any reps with the ones throughout training camp, regular season, all that kind of stuff. Or I don't know if he said training camp, at least the regular season part I do know. Point being, Shedeur was not practicing with the ones and then was thrown into the fire in that game last week. So now with a full week of practice, a full week of game plan, I am very, very curious. And this is also great for us here in Broncos country and those that like the Colorado Buffaloes as well, because the Broncos aren't playing this week. I think if you're a Bronco fan and a CU alum or a CU fan, all eyes will be on the Cleveland Browns this weekend against the Las Vegas Raiders. What are you expecting from Shedeur, Mr. Dante?
I expect him to be much better than what we saw. I think, part of that is the practice is that he was able to get in this week. I think also just he seems to be a mentality guy, if that makes sense, in terms of he needs the hype around it. He needs to go into the game ultra focused because his tools don't pop off the screen. He's not 6'5". He doesn't have a rocket arm. A lot of his game is mental and being able to dissect these defenses and being able to be on, the same timing as his own receivers as well. So I think him being able to have a full week of practice with the starters and just know that He knows right now. He knew on Monday probably, I'm going to be starting this game on Sunday, and he can start to visualize that for himself. So I think that's going to help a lot as well. I think the Raiders aren't very good, too. I think that's going to help a lot, too.
Real quick, and I understand that Broncos country is going to be happy because the Raiders are bad. Everyone loves that. But what a disappointing season, if I could just be objective for a moment.
I'm surprised about how bad they are.
I am shocked.
I thought you'd bring Pete Carroll in. Pete Carroll's a great coach. I think Geno Smith is not a great quarterback, but he's serviceable. Like, he could be the 20th best quarterback in the NFL. He has looked terrible.
Terrible. I mean, you got two players that are top 5 at their respective positions in Max Crosby and Brock Bowers. And I understand it's a team sport and one's a tight end and one's a pass rusher. That isn't, the sum of the work for the Las Vegas Raiders, but I think they have some talent on that team. I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. I thought they'd be competitive this year. The fact that they only have 2 wins right now, like Pete Carroll might be a one and done. Because if you're the Raiders, you got to sit back and say, what is the shelf life with this guy? Not in that way, but you know what I'm talking about in regards to head coach. Like how realistically, how many more years are we getting out of Pete Carroll? And if it didn't work this year, what confidence do you have that it's going to work next year? And I don't think it's just a Geno thing. Geno's been terrible, but I think it's a lot more than that as well. So just a thought there on the Raiders. I am very surprised at how bad they've been.
Yeah, but that should help Shedeur. Hopefully he can go out there and have a great game. I'm kind of rooting for him. I think he's fun when he plays.
I'm
when he
all
goes
in on
out
Shedeur,
there.
man. I was up there for every single, just about, I think I missed 1 or 2 CU home game his first year here. I mean, and I've said this before. I haven't said it in a while since I've been on here because I haven't had a reason to. Guys, I was in the building when the Nuggets won a NBA championship. And this is all hype, so this has nothing to do with performance. But that's peak for the Nuggets, right? Peak excitement, peak loudness, peak everything. I'd say that's it was like an 8 out of 10 compared to a regular season football game for Colorado the last 2 years. Or not this year, but the 2 years prior with Shedeur and Travis. I mean, the energy and the hype with those guys was absolutely insane. So we'll see what Shedeur does this weekend, man. I think he could play. I was very shocked at how far he fell in the draft with some of the stuff that came out after. It doesn't surprise me with how the NFL works. I think it would be so poetic if Shedeur Sanders can look competent out there and maybe, I'm not going to say solidify himself as the quarterback of the future or anything like that, but we were waiting for the opportunity. We're getting the opportunity for Shedeur Sanders this weekend. So love him or hate him, you're going to watch.
Absolutely. No, that's must-see TV for me, and it's a terrible game, the Browns and the Raiders, but, I mean, it doesn't seem like Shedeur is in the Browns' futures plans, but, they always say this, you're going out there, you're putting film on for 31 other teams as well, so I think it would be, very beneficial to him in his, long-term NFL career if he can go out there, sneak a win in there. I don't think that's crazy. I think they can definitely win that game.
Yeah, I'm a Shedeur guy, man. I was a believer when he was at Colorado. I think he could be a good NFL quarterback. We'll see if that comes to fruition on Sunday. All right, Dante, great stuff. I'm Anilo Piro. Follow me on social at Media by AP. Denver Sports Tonight in the books. Have a good evening, folks.
Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan is on a mission to feed families this holiday season, and we need your help. As part of our Fill the Truck campaign, we'll be collecting canned goods and non-perishable food items to benefit the